This is Countdown to Economic Collapse, September 25th, 2011. I'm David John Sponheim, running for president in 2012. Well, another major drop in the stock market, the largest since October of 2008, occurred last week. 391 points down. This is serious, folks. We're not just playing around here, and this happened under Obama's regime. He's created nothing but friction with the Republicans, and this entire plan is being operated by somebody larger. Bigger entities are involved in this. Obama is just a puppet, and the two-party system has essentially done whatever the powerful people behind it are telling it to do. What we need is the third party to break this entire scenario up and offer a clear vision for our financial future. Our economy is hinged so desperately onto the Federal Reserve's actions that we have become vulnerable. Derivatives markets are potentially toxic assets. 77 trillion in US derivatives could go belly up, leaving all kinds of doubt in the minds of investors. Okay, we're going to take a look at Business Insider and the incredibly volatile gold and silver market that happened this past week. Bullion traders had to endure the worst week for gold and silver, especially in the last couple of days of the week. The financial markets started the descent on Thursday as U.S. stock markets sharply fell. The U.S. dollar sharply appreciated against major currencies, and major commodities, including gold and oil, precipitously declined. Many attributed the sharp reaction in the financial markets to the disappointment from the Fed's plan to purchase long-term securities and no QE3 program. Gold sharply declined by 7.82% during the week, landing at about $1,639 per ounce. Silver, even more than gold, sharply decreased by 23%, dropping to an unbelievable low of $30 per ounce. The CME, COMEX, has raised the requirements for margin loans to close to $28,000, which is a 16% increase over previously in May, where they also affected the silver prices. So we're seeing a correction in the silver market, but I still believe it's on an upturn. But at this time, we are definitely getting hit hard by the paper traders and the margins and the futures that have affected the real value of silver. Now, gold and silver are strong commodities, and many people want to invest in that, which is a good thing long term. But people like Ron Paul are telling us that we have to back everything that we've got, all our currency, with some sort of a solid precious metal. That's absurd. Right now, our currency is a world economic trading entity. We are not about to stand around and watch our currency fall apart. It's reckless of Ron Paul to do that. So what I suggest is remain confident in the American dollar, watch it as it rebuilds with a new production center coming up in 2013 when I'm your president, and begin seeing this whole thing turn around when we get a handle on these ridiculous trading actions that the SEC, Security and Exchange Commission, has allowed. The concept of a country allowing margin loans to continue to exist well into this current time we're in, after the 1929 debacle where margin loans pretty much destroyed our economy, is ridiculous. The concept that we should allow this to continue leveraging the silver market is also ridiculous. The government needs leadership, and if the SEC can't step up and do something to prevent this reckless trading activity, we are going to end up having to pay the price. Now, we recently rebounded against the euro. Our dollar is doing a little bit better because the euro is doing so poorly. They're trying to shoulder a tremendous debt from Greece, Spain, and Italy, and now Greece is talking about defaulting, which is sending a shockwave through the European markets and could very well affect countries like Germany. Angela Merkel, the Chancellor of Germany, has stated she does not want to collectivize the debt, meaning restructure the debt so that Germany takes on Greece's debt. You see, all of this comes down to budget control. Our country is one of the biggest victims of bad budget control. Our president is naming and blaming the Republicans for everything. This just in from Fox News. Obama advisor is quoted as saying the shutdown looms as GOP bends to the will of the Tea Party. Now, this is the way that Obama is framing this disaster. Senior advisor David Plouffe, who managed the president's 2008 campaign, said the Tea Party's controlling the debate in Congress, even as it comes close to a government shutdown, over how to pay for disaster relief. The Senate Democrats on Friday defeated a House GOP-backed stopgap continuing resolution to fund the government through November 18th. Now, the Senate defeated the House's effort to actually get this under control. Now, without a continuing resolution, the government is set to shut down on Friday. But even as Plouffe argues that the Tea Party is creating a barrier to compromise, the president's class warfare approach to tax rates has many questioning the foundation of the argument. They're calling it the Buffett rule, named after billionaire Warren Buffett, and I've even talked about how people should be paying their fair share of taxes. But the reality is our progressive tax system is hitting the top 1% of earners. They contribute 38% of the total tax pool, and 10% pays 70% of the taxes. At the same time, the bottom 46% of income earners pay nothing at all. Now, this is something that's been going on for some time, but 22,000 millionaires pay around 15% or less. I'm sorry, but this president is gone mentally. He is not engaged in the key areas where he needs to help our country. Building up jobs is not some sort of a campaign. It's the hard work of actually building innovations, not somehow telling the American people we're going to give them more jobs in the transportation sector. In my area, they dug the roads up. The roads were perfectly fine, but they dug them up anyway, and they redid them. And they're going to do that all around the country just to give people a job. You see how mindless this is? We're not producing a product, mind you, when we simply fill in holes. We are actually just wasting our time. We have to actually patch the roads, not rebuild them. Okay, so the silver market is bound to rebound. I've been very confident that it could rebound, but we are seeing an adjustment right now. We are still looking at an upturn in the silver market and in the gold market, and that's why everybody's been buying silver, and the quantity of silver is down. Brinks announced a 10% depletion in May. I'm sure their supplies are dwindling right now. Gold is obviously being bought up too, so there's a mad grab for the real commodity, and the paper markets are screwing up the value of each of these commodities right now. But once that resolves itself and people get out of the paper markets, the margins and the futures, and they get more into the solid precious metals, we will be seeing a massive spike in those prices, I believe. Now, the government is corralling investors so that they don't leave the stock market. After that massive depression that just kicked into gear last week, the government's basically making people skittish about investing in silver and gold. So we are now looking at a major disaster looming, and as I predicted, all of this is pointing to Barack Obama's inability to work with the Republicans, the two-party system being corrupted by many different interests, and we virtually have all three branches of our nation corrupted at this point. The Supreme Court obviously leaning in favor of Walmart in that class action lawsuit issue. They've also made the statement last year that corporations can actually fund campaigns against or for a candidate, which is a complete violation, in my opinion, of election law. But they're going to be able to do it, and this is where the Supreme Court is corrupt. Legislatures are all corrupt. The two-party system has essentially created all these money-grubbing people that are trying to get reelected. And then, of course, the executive branch is corrupt because Barack Obama is clearly working closely with Goldman Sachs, Citigroup, and various other big banks like JP Morgan. This is a huge problem. A president that is selling himself out. We didn't have to give out the TARP money, $700 billion. We didn't have to do ARRA, but we did all of that because of Barack Obama. Now it's time for you to change the direction of political history and our economy by voting for a third party. So please check out our website, go to our nightly blog show, weekdays 6 to 8 p.m., and do get involved and contribute to what America's Third Party can do for you as an individual, as an investor, or just as a person trying to survive in this tough economy. I'm David John Sponheim for America's Third Party, and I support this message.
Check us out at americasthirdparty.com.